You should have been here. That was really funny. But I'm not going to share it with you. I'm going to talk about frogs. That's funny too, let me tell you. I'm Jim Sunderwirth coming to you from my swing here in my home. So yesterday we were talking about frogs, and I'll tell you what, that is quite a subject. And I started singing a song. Now remember, I told you, and I found it here. It says in the 10th verse of that chapter 8. He said, when do you want us to get rid of those frogs? And this is what Pharaoh said. Tomorrow, he said, let it be according to your word. Tomorrow, take away these frogs. I started singing you a song, but this morning, I'm going to sing it like I'd sing it in concert. Well, Pharaoh had the children of Israel, and they were out there making bricks. And who had come wandering in? But Moses back from the sticks. He said, now, let my people be freed. And Pharaoh said, you think we're dogs? Moses said, you better let them go, or I'll cover your land with frogs. Well, Pharaoh laughed and went to bed that night, just asleep and dream. Why, he woke up the next morning, you know what? The whole room was jumping green. Seemed like the frogs were everywhere, both in the house and out. And when Moses said, now, Pharaoh, when shall we leave? Pharaoh began to shout. I can't believe he said it, but he did. Give me one more night. Give me one more night. Give me one more night with the frogs. Yeah. Tomorrow is the day that you can take these things away. But give me one more night with the frogs. Well, Pharaoh had to share his land with a bunch of croaking toads. Well, they were covering up the countryside, and they were slopping up the roads. Every chariot, man, and beast, while they were stepping on warty hides. And no longer were the frogs a mess, but the palace got the sides. What's that word anyway? So, well, the palace, it's been a long time. The palace wasn't excluded from this hopping and croaking horde. The old king wanted to take a swim. You know what? He had to wait in line for the board. Seemed like the frogs were in everything. The drawers, the pans, the beds. The old king took off his crown that night. You're right. There sat one right on his head. But he kept saying, give me one more night. Give me one more night. Give me one more night with the frogs. Cribbit. Tomorrow is the day that you can take these things away. But give me one more night with the frogs. Oh, man. Well, you'd think this king would soon get tired of frog legs for dessert. He had them creamed and broiled and baked until his own legs kind of hurt. Well, he turned a lovely shade of green, and he thought it was no joke when he himself in his sleep that night began to hop and croak. Well, he finally had enough. So he called in the man of God. Well, Moses stood there with his brother Aaron, and they both leaned there on the rod. He said, what's the matter, king? As a toad jumped past his head. Well, the king pushed two frogs aside. And one time he said, give me one more night. Give me one more night. Well, give me one more night with the frogs. Oh, man. Tomorrow is the day that you can take these things away. But give me one more night with the frogs. Well, the king got his one more night. And then the morning came. Well, the frogs began to disappear, just like the morning rain. Well, it wasn't long till they were completely gone, and Pharaoh loudly sighed, and that old king never ate another frog leg till the day that he died. Now, don't you make the same mistake as that old stubborn king. You see, he would have missed out on so much grief except for just one thing. He kept putting off to tomorrow what he should have been doing today. So when it comes to serving a living, wonderful God, don't you ever say, don't look up and say, give me one more night. Don't do it. Give me one more night. Give me one more night with the frogs. Tomorrow is the day that you can take these things away, but give me one more night with the frogs. Well, give me one more night. Give me one more night. Well, give me one more night with the frogs. Tomorrow is the day that you can take these things away, but give me one more night with these frogs. That took our whole 5 minutes. I'll see you tomorrow. Lord, don't let us spend another day with our frogs.